Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're doing a Mojo Pork Roast. It's awesome. Pork roast is my favorite. I have one glove. Pork roast is my favorite roast. Pork is pretty much my favorite anything, but I love pork roast. This dish has got a little bit of a Hispanic, kind of South American flair to it with the ingredients. One thing that's been, I got my hair whacked off. Did y'all see that? Good Lord, I see myself in this camera. I look like I'm bald. Anyway, sorry, a little diatribe there. We've been outside taking down trees. We've got these big, nasty, grody thorn trees on our property. Some of them are big, some of them are kind of small, but they've got thorns, and I am not exaggerating, that are anywhere from 3 to 8 inches long. They are hideous. I mean, they'll put holes in tires. So we've been using the tractor and literally pulling them out of the ground, making a ginormous burn pile. So I'm kind of a wreck right now. But anyway, that has nothing to do with our roast. It's really sunny at the moment, so I've tried to turn the camera in all kinds of directions to block some of the sun so it doesn't screw up the picture. But anyway, wow, not sure what all that's about. Let's get back to the recipe. So, Mojo pork. A very traditional way of preparing pork was to include citrus with it. Lemon juice, lime juice, grapefruit juice, orange juice, those types of things. The acidity in those juices kind of help break down the muscle fibers and make it super, super tender. Also gives it a nice flavor and helps kind of work with the fat, break the fat down. So it's just something ancestrally that people knew was a good thing to do with pork. So this recipe calls for that. We've got orange juice, grapefruit juice, and lime juice, and a few herbs and seasonings. It's really simple to come together. Now, if you don't have all those juices, don't get freaked out. I just happen to have all 3 of them, which is actually kind of unusual that I'd have all 3 of them at the same time in my refrigerator. But if you don't, you can bump up. If you don't have grapefruit juice, add a little more orange and lime to make up the same amount of grapefruit you would use, or vice versa in any of those combinations. If you don't have grapefruit or you don't have lime but you have lemon, use it. It will be fine, I promise you. But I'm going to flip the camera around and turn it down so the sun coming out of my window behind the stove doesn't blind you. It has been gray and cold and nasty today, but all of a sudden the sun came out big. So let me get flipped around and we'll get busy on this. Now, this is one of those recipes, like I'm always talking about, that's so easy it's going to blow your mind, but y'all, I promise this one is. We will literally take a 4-pound pork roast. Look at this beauty. Is that gorgeous? This is from a local farm, Three Board Farms, one of my favorite families around. So I'm going to take this roast. Recipe calls for 4 pounds. I think this was like 3.9. Close enough. We're going to cut it into 4 pieces and sear it in a skillet with a little bit of oil. And I've actually got a little bit of bacon grease in the bottom of my skillet from us eating breakfast this morning. It'll work perfect. Sear it on each side real good. And then we're going to put it in this old-timey Corningware baking dish. So I'm not going to make y'all listen to all that because we all know how the popping and searing and screaming of the meat in the skillet is very irritating on the camera. So, but I will go ahead and cut it up. And so I'm just literally going to go in 4ths. Now, you see I hit a little bone here. No big deal. Just kind of cut around that. And I may actually leave mine in 3 pieces because there'll be 3 kind of even pieces instead of cutting this one because it's kind of thin on the end. Instead of cutting it smaller, I'm just going to do it that way. So now what I'll do is get my skillet really, really hot and then put each piece in. Probably do this one first. Well, I might go do all 3 of them. I got a big old skillet over here. Let them go 6 to 8 minutes. Get them nice and browned and seared. Flip them over, do the other, and then put them in this pan. So I'll pause while I do that. Then we'll come back. We're going to make the marinade, which is just mixing up some ingredients in a mason jar. Super easy. Pour it over the roast. Tuck a few bay leaves in. Cover it tight with foil. In the oven it goes. That doesn't get any easier. So hang loose and I'll show you what the roast looks like when we come back. But I won't make you listen to all that obnoxious noise. Okay, so there we go. There is, doesn't that look yummy? I mean, it's not cooked all the way through, but it sure is nice and browned and looks really good to me. I'm just a pork roast nerd. But anyway, and this actually only took me about 8 minutes total. So I did about 4 minutes on each side. I did take this heavier or thicker piece and kind of do it up on its little skinny side a little bit too, just because I like the browned kind of caramelized edge. All right, so I'm gonna stick that to the side for a second. Now we're going to make our marinade. I mean, we call it a marinade, but we're not marinating this like letting it sit in the refrigerator. I guess you could call it a sauce that we're gonna pour over the roast. So now we're just gonna mix up, I mean, this couldn't be any easier, just mix up everything we need in this jar. So we need 1/3 of a cup of orange juice. I've got some Uncle Matt's organic. God, this stuff is the best orange juice on the planet. Okay, there's my OJ. And then I need 1/4 cup of grapefruit juice and 1/4 cup of lime juice. So I've got some Knudsen grapefruit juice. My husband hates this stuff. I love it. I'll drink it straight out of the jar, and that grosses him out, but I like it a lot. So anyway, yeah, to each his own. So 1/4 cup of that, and then 1/4 cup of lime juice. Obviously, if you have fresh fruit, squeeze that and use your fresh fruit. That'd be fabulous. All right, so there's my lime juice, 1/4 cup. Now, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of avocado oil and 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I just happen to have some garlic avocado oil because I roasted a bunch of garlic and I got a little crazy with the amount of oil that I put in the pan. So when I got done, I had all of this. Boy, did I go crazy. I had this, and so I just jarred it, labeled it. It was actually earlier this month, and thought I'll just use it when I cook. And I have used it, you know, I'll drizzle it when I'm cooking eggs in the morning. I mean, it's good stuff. The smell is divine. So I'm just going to use 2 tablespoons of this. And I tell you what, now that I got a little out of this jar, it was filled so full, I could hardly balance that guy right there. I could hardly get it to shake up. Now, a lot of that garlic flavoring and stuff, the sediment just went to the bottom. All right, so here's my 2 tablespoons. So that's my avocado oil / minced garlic. Yum. All right, then we need a tablespoon of coconut sugar. I had that ready. If you don't have coconut sugar, you could use date sugar. You could use brown sugar. I'd probably back it down maybe to about 2 teaspoons because brown sugar is a lot sweeter. But you could do some substitutions there. Then we need a tablespoon of oregano. And since my table measuring spoon is full of oil, I'm just going to use 3 teaspoons, which is a tablespoon. And now 2 teaspoons of salt. So I've got my pink Himalayan salt here. 1, 2. Y'all, this is the tastiest roast. I think I've already mentioned probably 12 times how much I love roast, but this is a good one. All right, then we've got 2 teaspoons of cumin. Yum. And then the last herb to add in is bay leaves, but we're not going to add that into this. So now we'll take our lid and shake this up really well. Turn a little measuring spoon on top of that roast. Let that little bit of oil run out on it. So we'll shake this super well. Y'all, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Now, I want to put 2 bay leaves. These are some ginormous bay leaves. I'm going to put a couple of them, just kind of nestle them down in here. And then I think I'll put the other one. Well, that went zipping on by. Put the other one right there. Okay, so there's my 2 bay leaves. Now I'll take my sauce, for lack of a better term, and just pour it all over the roast. And then we're going to put tin foil on here really tight. You want it tight and sealed up so that all the steam stays in and it really, you know, keeps your moisture in with your roast. Whoo, I wish y'all could smell that. That is freaking amazing. Okay, so I'm going to put my foil over here, get it super tight and sealed around the edges. Then it's going to go in the oven for about 3.5 hours on 325. Then when we come back, what I usually do is pour the juice off, put it in a pan, simmer it down where it reduces just a little bit so it's a little thicker, not quite as runny, and then pour that back over the meat. Then you can shred it, you can cut it in chunks, you can serve it over rice, you can put it in tacos, you can put it on nachos, in enchiladas, serve it. Oh, it's really good on top of a green salad, really good, with some corn and black beans and avocado. I'm thinking I might do that this evening because that's sounding really good. There's a lot of different ways you can use this beater. You can put some sides with it, make some mashed potatoes, steam some broccoli, fix some carrots. I mean, you know, whatever you like. It's just amazing. But when we come back, you'll see what it looks like when it comes out of the oven in a few hours, 3.5 hours, and it'll be super tender and juicy and full of flavor. So I'll see y'all back here in a little while. Okay, so it's been 3.5 hours. I just got this bad boy out of the oven. I'm gonna pull this foil off and be very careful because the steam that will come gushing out of this will burn you to no end. Oh my word, look at that. Look how tender that is. That bone just falls right out of there. My dog's gonna have a heyday with that, huh? Y'all, this is gonna be so good. I can't wait. So, like I mentioned earlier, you can leave it just like this. I'm going to skim the fat off and then tear my meat up, or shred it, tear it up. It sounds weird. And then add a little of the fat back just to kind of moisten it. And then I'm going to take the juicy stock part under there that's got all the herbs and cook it down on the stove just a little bit, just to kind of thicken it up some, and then pour it on top of the meat. And we are going to have a pig fest tonight. Y'all, this is, look at that. So stinking tender. Woo! Yeah, baby. This is it. Mojo Pork Roast. You can also do this with ground pork. I've done that before. Make your sauce, toss your meat in it, and put it in a skillet and brown it. And then, you know, you can strain it and do that second step I was just talking about. And then serve it with some rice. And it's really good. Same flavor, but it's just not quite the same as a pork roast. Pork roast is by far the best. But ground pork is a great, quick way to get this flavor and this intensity. You know, it just doesn't take as long as a roast. So anyway, that's it, y'all. Give it a shot. I am fixing to tear into this bad boy. We're going to have a good supper tonight. Y'all give it a shot. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you back here on the next video. Okay, so I thought I'd pop back on here for just a second. I pulled all the meat out and I was getting ready to pour this and realized I want to show y'all one other thing. The more surface area your stock covers, the thinner the layer of fat is and the harder it is to skim off. So if you pour it into a smaller surface, a smaller pot, and then, you know, give it just a minute for it to separate, then you're going to have a thicker layer of fat, and you can take a little ladle and just scoop it all out. And then that way I can pick my meat, put it back in the casserole dish, get a little of the fat out, toss it on the meat, and then get the rest of the fat out. You know, not all of it, but just where it's not too greasy. And then heat the stock, and then it'll go on top. So just wanted to give you that little tidbit, because see, the deeper the fat is, the easier it is to scoop off. So we're fixing chow down. Y'all have a great evening, and I'll see you back on the next video.